Hey everyone, welcome to Aspen Noble World. So this vlog is about Hyperemesis Gravidarum. I know you've probably never heard of the word before, but if you experience it, then you know how hard it can be. And I want to talk about three different things. I want to talk about the symptoms I experienced when I was pregnant. And then I also want to talk about what worked for me and things that didn't work. Have you ever had anyone just tell you, oh, it's morning sickness, and you're like, no, I experience this all day, every day, and it's a heightened morning sickness. Like it's morning sickness times like 100 or 1,000, or at least that's how it feels when you're experiencing it. So if this is you, definitely talk to your doctor because you may have a mild case. If you have a severe case, most likely your doctor already knows because you're going to end up needing fluids because you do become very dehydrated. So that's something I'm going to talk about. And I really wanted to do this because there's not a lot of videos or even a lot of information from other moms about experiencing this condition while being pregnant. You do see a lot of different things about morning sickness and what helped morning sickness, but you don't see enough about hyperemesis. And the thing about it is people are going to give you different things or give you different advice as to what may work because it may have worked for them as far as morning sickness with hyperemesis. And I'm just going to call it HG throughout the video. For HG, it's completely different. And like I said, I'm going to tell you what worked for me, and it didn't even really work 100%. It just helped. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you, but it doesn't hurt to try it, or even just if this video gives you some sort of encouragement, because I know I really felt like no one understood exactly what I was going through. Just to know that there are women out there who experience this and we made it through and our babies are healthy, and you can get through it as well. So the first thing is that I had HG for about 4.5 months of my pregnancy, which I thought it was never going to end. So I really couldn't enjoy my pregnancy in the beginning like I really wanted to. I was happy, of course, but it was hard for me to actually be really content with how I was feeling, in my journey through motherhood because I was so sick. I had fatigue. I was vomiting constantly. I couldn't even drink water. If I drank water, I would throw it up as well. No food. So I lost 10 pounds and I lost it really quickly, and I even began to lose more weight. Eventually, the doctor did diagnose me with having HG because I had to have IV fluids. I was coming in like every couple of days to get IV. I was hospitalized. They did prescribe medication to subdue the nausea, promethazine, and a couple of other things, but really I was concerned about my baby and I really didn't want to take any medication because I looked it up, and those medications, although they were deemed as somewhat safe, they have different categories for medications. I just was uncomfortable taking it. I really didn't take medication before my pregnancy and I didn't want to take it during my pregnancy. So I tried it because I was desperate, but then I eventually stopped because the medication was only making me drowsy. So I would just go to sleep. So of course I wasn't throwing up while I was asleep. But as soon as I woke up, I was still sick. So it didn't really do much for me. It may help you. It just depends on your body. And so even when I didn't eat, I would throw up bile. So if you're unfamiliar with bile, what bile is, excuse me, just Google it. And basically, it's just in your body. So it's not even a food, it's not even a drink. That's how much I was vomiting. You may have severe pain in your throat, in your chest, because you're hacking constantly, even very small amounts. You might even see a tinge of blood, but definitely go to the doctor if you're having any complications. I would recommend that because I did eventually, I just kind of got used to certain symptoms, unfortunately. But the thing about it is that after the fatigue and all of that started wearing off, around 4 months, I still had symptoms because I would constantly spit, spit, spit. That's the thing about it. My saliva would be constantly producing to where I needed to spit or, you know, swallow, but it's kind of nasty. So I was constantly spitting. So I carried around a cup and I would spit in the cup constantly. It was really nasty, but you know, no one knew. Everybody thought I was carrying around a drink, except for the people close to me. They knew what I was going through, and everyone was really supportive, including my partner. He is like amazing. He has cleaned vomit. He has cleaned cups out for me. You know, all kind of crazy stuff. But he's the real MVP for that because I know it was hard for him just as much as it was hard for me. Um, it was really hard for me to take a shower, so I have to take sitz baths because I would have to sit down because I was so tired and had so much fatigue. So, bypass all those symptoms. What worked for me? What worked for me was eventually drinking some carnation breakfast, milk drinks. And this is all through trial and error because I've tried a lot of different things. Even the nurses and doctors are going to advise you on different things. But I'll talk about those things later. It didn't work for me. So the carnation drinks, even though you may vomit it, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to until those symptoms kind of subside, at least it's not food coming out. It's just soft and it's liquid. So basically, it's not damaging to your throat as much as maybe if you chewed up some food or chewed up some meat or something like that. So that worked. That also was getting some nutrition through those drinks because I couldn't swallow any prenatal pills. My gag reflex was just horrible. I eventually started taking the gummy prenatals. And then later on, when I became well, I had to take iron because I was so anemic. And eventually, I was able to swallow after the 4.5 months. So that was a blessing. Make sure you stay hydrated. Now, you may still vomit water, but what worked for me was eating ice chips. Um, I guess it was the small amounts of liquid that was being eaten for ice chips or swallowed, which helped where I didn't constantly throw it up. So that kind of kept me hydrated. Of course, not as much, but it helps. And then later on, as things subsided, I would drink broth. You can get Lipton's broth or just make homemade chicken broth. Milkshakes helped me as well. Like I was Chick-fil-A's #1 customer, and I always was getting just a milkshake because it was fulfilling and satisfying, and I felt full, and I was able to just swallow it, you know, whether it came up later or not. And Gatorade also became my best friend later on as well. Another thing that helped with the spitting, even after I kind of stopped vomiting, was chewing gum. And chewing the gum helped the saliva, you know, go down. And even sucking lollipops or hard candy really helped me as well. So those things worked. So what didn't work for me? All my friends, doctors, nurses, just different people, and they were all being really helpful, and I really appreciate their concern. But I was constantly telling people, like, this is not morning sickness. This is beyond morning sickness, and I've tried all of these things and nothing works. And even some things that I haven't tried, I did try it because I was desperate for it to stop like completely. But none of those things work. So some people are going to tell you drink ginger ale, drink ginger tea, eat fresh ginger, try ginger chews, eat crackers, suck on peppermint. By the way, I hated the taste and smell of peppermint when I was pregnant, so I didn't even try that one. Try different teas. You know, it was just so many different things. I think that's probably the top ones that I've heard. And like I said, none of them really worked. So you kind of have to find what works for you and just figure it out. You know, it's really hard, like I said, to go through, but you're going to get through it. Everyone who has experienced this, knows how hard it can be just overall. But once you get through it, you're going to feel so refreshed and amazed. And after that, we went on our baby moon and it was awesome. Like, I ate so much food and I enjoyed my pregnancy so much. And I guess the benefit of going through this is just knowing what your body is capable of. And I just want you to know that you're strong. Stay strong for your baby, and your child is going to come out amazing. This has no effect on your child's health. It's just something that you're dealing with. Um, but you're going to make it through. And I hope more women who have HG talk about it so that others don't feel alone. I hope there's more blogs and vlogs and articles about it for other women to just get more information, whether they talk about what they went through or talk about what helped them. I think it's just encouraging to hear more of that so that women who experience HG is just not overlooked by just labeling it as morning sickness. But other than that, just make sure you stay positive, stay blessed, and forget about the rest.